Test, test, test. Looks good. Okay. Well, welcome to Texas Tim's setting up Melty Blood for Netplay tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to go over the correct version of the game and the Netplay options and how to connect, and also if you're behind a router, what you need to do to that router generally in order to allow Netplay to work through the router. So let's begin. The first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you have the right version of the game, which will be the latest version, revision 1.4. You notice here I have a cracked version. Well, in general, that's what you will have is the cracked version. So you'll apply the regular 1.4 patch to the executable here, and then you'll kind of, well, extract the cracked executable and replace the executable. I'm not entirely sure how the cracked version works as far as code goes, but it works. Anyway, so once you have that done, start up Melty Blood, and you can see here network settings. You can put in a username and a comment, and those will show up during Netplay. So I'd recommend putting at least your name or whatever name you want, and when you start up the game, and you go down to network mode. If I can find my select key, I'll just use my stick. Hold on. Yeah, okay. And you'll be going into direct connect mode. If you're hosting, you'll go into host mode. If you're going to connect to somebody who's hosting, you'll go into client mode. Now the host, he'll just hit host mode. You'll notice a port number, 46,318 is the default port. So you can just leave it at that. And you just start accept client, which is basically you start hosting and somebody can connect to you. And they'll connect to you via your global IP and your port number. And now this is interesting. So once you start hosting, let me open up a notepad and show you this. So once you start hosting, you can see your IP information right down here on the Melty Blood screen. When you start hosting, it automatically copies the necessary information in a format that Melty Blood wants to your clipboard. So you can use the Windows shortcut Control-V for control paste, or the paste command, and voila, you'll see here in Notepad it has my IP address and port number in the format that the game wants. So you can literally just control paste this into a chat to whoever you're trying to direct connect with, so that they can then select this text and Control C or copy it. And then what they'll do once they have it copied is see, they'll be going into client mode, and they can you can type all that shit in manually, which takes forever, or you can use this option right here which says connect to host from clipboard. Now if you copied the IP information your opponent posts in the chat, then you just go in, copy from clipboard, and voila, there's the IP information from the clipboard. Now it's my own information, so I'm not gonna try and connect to this, but anyways, you'll see that information in the clipboard, and then you just click start connect host, and it will connect for you. So that's pretty handy feature there. Now, if you have trouble connecting this way, either because you, or maybe, well, actually, it'd always be on the host side. So if the person hosting is behind a router and they are not directly plugged into their ISP's modem or whatever, if they're behind a router of any kind, you'll probably need to use port forwarding on the router. So I'm gonna show you generally how to set up that kind of thing on your router. So you'll need to log into your router, and I use a Netgear router, and this is the default gateway of the Netgear router on the local area network side. If you're confused at all by these terms, don't worry about it. If you don't know how to log into your router, I don't know what to say. There should be like step-by-step instructions with whatever manual came with the router about how to actually log into it. Suffice it to say, your computer will need to be connected to the router some way, and you'll need to open up a web browser and type in what's called the default gateway IP address for the router on the local area network side of the router. So yeah, once you're logged in, you'll see on my router, every home router is pretty much the same. They'll have options similar to this on some place once you log in, and one of the things you'll see is going to be called port forwarding. So that's the thing you want, port forwarding. You go into port forwarding, and you'll see here the active forwarding rules, and you can also assign custom rules on this particular router. These terms might not be the same on every router, and the format of this entire screen will probably not be the same on every router. So the biggest thing is getting to something called port forwarding on your router. Now, whatever port you're hosting on in Melty Blood, which the default is 46,318, which you can see right here, and I even named it MBAACC. Essentially, you'll want to, everything that says start or end port on whatever internal external thing, just put it all at whatever port you're hosting at. You can name it whatever you want, but I call it MBAACC for clarity. And the IP address you're going to want is going to be your local IP address for your computer. So mine is .4 on this private network here, but you can find out what your IP address is when you're connected to your router by like going down here to the taskbar, and you'll see your network connection status, internet access. Ooh. Well, anyway, you right click that and you go open share center. You'll see this adapter settings. You'll see your local area connection. You right click that, you go status, and you hit details, and then it'll tell you all your IP information. So I can see from here my IP version 4 address is 192.168.0.4. Whatever IP address that is shown there is what you want to have for this local IP address option right here for port forwarding. So then you just add that port forwarding in, and you save your config, and you can log out of your router, and then voila, you have port forwarding. So that should allow you to host if you're behind a router. So that pretty much concludes my tutorial. I don't actually have anybody to connect to currently, so if I did, I would actually show me connecting to somebody, or them connecting to me. Probably more likely since I can host. But anyway, so yeah, that'll conclude this tutorial. Yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful.